Let's talk about transfers. Everybody's wanting to know what is going to happen with Kylian Mbappe. He's obviously turned down Saudi, so could he possibly, please, come to the Premier League?
Highly unlikely. I think there's probably more chance of Gabby coming out of retirement, to be honest. There's just not a Premier League club who can go to the kind of financial levels that it would take to get Mbappe. You look at his salary, you look at that big bonus payment that he's due if he's still at PSG come the end of the transfer window. You've got the signing on fee, 160 million that he's been promised at Real Madrid. He only wants to go to Real Madrid, and my gut feeling still is that come the end of the window, they'll come in with some kind of lowball offer, and I feel like PSG, having taken this severe stance and said he's not part of our plans, they're going to have to accept it.
I think as well, Mbappe looks like the sort of character will be stubborn. Well, no problem. Don't play me for a season. I'll sit here.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's got all the cards. Yeah. Listen, I'd love him in the Premier League. There was a link to Liverpool at the weekend. I just don't see it.
Man United, we've been talking about Højlund. Gabby's a fan of Rasmus Højlund.
Like him.
That looks like it's going to get over the line. And stood in the bulletin with Nick about Amrabat possibly coming. You've been talking about this for a long time.
Yeah, I spoke to somebody close to Amrabat last night because there was a link in one of the French newspapers saying he could be tempted by Saudi Arabia. I'm told that isn't the case. Manchester United, his preferred destination, and that there's a big possibility this deal gets done. Again, there's a few things to happen first. I think they need to sell players now, having got Mount, Onana, and obviously Højlund over the line. I think Fred, probably the most likely departure. They've been in talks with Galatasaray. If that happens, I think there's every chance that Amrabat signs. And I've said it before on this programme, I think if they get him in, I think that's been a good window for Erik ten Hag. You've got a new goalkeeper, which they desperately needed. Mason Mount brings a bit of energy to midfield. Højlund, very raw, but he's a proper number 9. He's going to stay fit, hopefully, unlike Anthony Martial. And Amrabat, I think, would be a step up on Fred as well.
What about RAYA? Because we spoke about it earlier and it just doesn't make sense. I think even Arsenal fans are a bit confused at the interest, because Ramsdale, you would have thought would be the number 1 going into the new season.
Especially as he signed a new contract towards the back end of last season. So I'm not told that Aaron Ramsdale's position as number 1 is under any threat. I think this only really will happen if Brentford lower their asking price. I don't see a scenario where Arsenal pay £40 million for competition for Ramsdale. They've already got Matt Turner, who's been playing well for the USA in recent weeks. So you're right, I think it's a very odd one. And for David Raya, it's a bizarre situation in that it's been clear for a year that he wanted to leave. Tottenham tried to explore it, wouldn't pay the asking price. Bayern Munich the same. And obviously Brentford themselves have signed a new goalkeeper. So at the moment, he's not guaranteed to be number 1 anywhere next season, whether he stays at Brentford or goes to Arsenal.
I remember seeing David Raya's debut for Blackburn, what feels like years ago, which it was, and he made a mistake, and I thought to myself, he ain't going to go far in this country. He's not. This is not going to happen. I was listening to...
he's a bad judge of goalkeepers.
Putting you in nets, yeah, absolutely. Trans-Europe Express last night, Danny Kelly actually said that if Harry Kane does leave right at the end of the window, then he felt it would be well within his rights if Postecoglou walked out on Spurs, having been sold a pup. So what is the latest on Harry Kane's future?
Well, there was supposed to be a meeting on Friday between a couple of Bayern Munich executives and Daniel Levy. It got postponed until today. As far as we know, that meeting is still going ahead. But the type of figures that are being quoted in Germany, I don't think are going to be enough to persuade Daniel Levy to sell. We know that he wants at least £100 million. At one stage this summer, I was being quoted £130 million. Bayern, it looks like, are only going to go up as high as about £80 million. I just don't see that's enough to get it done.
Who do Spurs get?
Well, that's the
to
problem.
Replace him?
That's the problem, because
what's the 90 million that maybe he goes for? What do they get for that? Who's out there they can go and buy? Who wants to come to Spurs as well?
Well, there's no obvious candidate.
No.
Osimhen would cost a lot more than that.
Yep.
He's obviously one of the top strikers in Europe at this moment in time. You look in the Premier League, Ivan Toney potentially, but he won't be available until January. So I think it's a real conundrum for Tottenham if they do sell Harry Kane. And if it does happen, there's every chance they start the season with Richarlison as the number 9.
I got a United fan who texted earlier, actually, and he says that on the United striker, Højlund, coming in, 72 million, 64 plus 8 add-ons. Surely, would you not put another 20 million on the table and go for Harry Kane? I just don't get it, says
Such
Jane.
a boring argument, because Daniel Levy won't sell Harry Kane to Manchester United, so it's absolutely irrelevant. And
the wages.
What United have done this summer is they've dramatically reduced the wage bill. Harry Kane, by all accounts, is looking for £575,000 a week. That would smash Manchester United's pay structure. And after the Ronaldo debacle, Ten Hag made it pretty clear to the board, we don't want that disparity in the dressing room. So Kane was never really a possibility.
Are you happy as a Manchester United fan with Højlund coming in?
Yeah. Especially hearing you and Kev
He looks good,
Hatchard,
mate.
actually. He's got raw potential. He's not the finished article. He might need a bit of patience. But this is the player that Ten Hag has picked out. You know that I'm a big fan of Erik Ten Hag, so I'm going to back him, and I think it'll be a successful signing.
You know what he calls Ten Hag? Little bald genius.
Does he?
Yeah. You like him, don't you?
I do.
Are you
Big
on
fan.
with Jim White this morning?
Yes.
Look forward to that. That's when we're done at 10 o'clock. Alex Crook, thank you very much. And for all the transfer latest, don't forget to check out our live blog over on talksport.com.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.